Would I recommend the FAR clinic? Absolutely, 100% yes. I honestly can't tell you how excited I am to go home and to sit down with my laptop and to write this huge email that I already have in my head and send it to all these people that I know that need to come here. I have seen more changes in these 3 weeks than I have in 10 years of my life, and I cannot tell you how much this has changed my life. When I was 15 or 16 years old, I started experiencing symptoms as far as headaches, back pain, extreme fatigue, and as the years progressed, the symptoms just kind of progressed. The list became longer. One page turned into 3 pages, doctor visit after doctor visit, and I could never get anywhere with anything. People just kind of told me that it was from racing snowmobiles and back pain causes the headaches, and food sensitivities are normal. I have had bowel issues pretty much all my life. No one could ever tell me why or tell me what to do to solve those issues, and so I just kind of took it upon myself to clean my diet up and look into how to do things naturally. And it wasn't until about the last year of my life where I started experiencing neurological symptoms that became really heavy. Speech was becoming difficult, putting words together or sentences. It really started to freak me out. And last June of 2014, I went mostly blind in my right eye, and that's kind of was my tipping point where I was like, gotta do something about this, what's going on? So I went to Idaho to a clinic, and they did mostly nutritional IV therapy. I was there for 6 weeks and had regained most of my vision in my right eye, but felt completely the same physically and mentally. I just felt absolutely horrible. And I went home and continued to search for answers, search for clinics that did something that was different than anywhere else. I looked into going to Germany, looked into going to California, Mexico, and I had finally got diagnosed with Lyme 8 months ago. And so I really started to dig into the research, into what was working, what wasn't. I wanted to stay away from antibiotics, already knew that. I was just kind of afraid of doing this whole normal 6 weeks realm of antibiotics and then killing my whole gut flora and starting over again because I had had so much gut problems. So about a month and a half ago, I got an email from a dear friend of mine who has been struggling with Lyme disease for many years. We actually met at the clinic last summer, and she sent me an email telling me about the time that she had spent here at the FAR clinic and a list of the changes that she was seeing within her mind and body. And I honestly couldn't really believe it, because as Lymies know, you experience something that most people will never be able to grasp a hold of. It felt immediately like family here, and which is something so different that I've never experienced from most clinics. Most clinics, you come in and there's tons of people and there's so much going on, and for someone who's been sick for so long, or is dramatically sick, it's so overwhelming. So to come to a place where it's quiet and the fountain, the trees, and there's minimal people, it's absolutely incredible. I can't tell you like how therapeutic alone that is. And they just guided me through all of the treatments that they do here at the clinic, and it just started to make sense. When I first came in, I felt like I was pretty mentally and physically drained, and I eventually started to see little results, and as the time grew, I just started to see massive results neurologically, physically. I took a break in between Thanksgiving and was able to go home and climb a mountain for the first time in months. And instead of my body attacking itself and being sore for the next 10 days, I wasn't sore at all. And the next day after, and 2 or 3 days after that, and it was something that I had not experienced in over 10 years. I FaceTime my mom and dad. They live in Alaska all the time. And of course, talking to my mom and my dad, they automatically tell the difference with conversations. As Dr. Earl pointed it out early on, I should say, that I'm not having surface conversations anymore. I'm being able to go into the first and the second and the third layer of conversations, or bring things back up that we talked about a couple minutes ago and revert it back to the conversation. So just FaceTiming with my mom and dad the other day, I was telling my dad how amazing I felt, and he started to cry. And I don't think I've ever seen my father cry in my life. And it was so awesome, because it's like through my journey, it has broken down all these walls and relationship blockages with my family, or whatever you want to call it. And it was absolutely incredible. I started bawling. And he just looked at me and he was like, tears of joy to see you have some sort of relief from all of this. So what am I going to do with my life now? I think the biggest thing would be to be able to go back to work. I've been extremely independent my entire life, and being so debilitated by my disease has made it so I couldn't work, I can't work, and that I couldn't do the things that I loved and that rejuvenated my soul. Being outside and being in the mountains and being with the people I love, it just kind of became really closed and quiet. I couldn't express myself the same way. So to be able to do those things again, and to go to work again, and to financially support myself on my own, would be incredible.